Question 20, Mrs. Caine.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to ask the Minister for Environment, Food and Agriculture what progress has been made on delivering the single-use plastics reduction plan for the Isle of Man Government, and if you'll make a statement.
Mr. Boot, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under the single-use plastics reduction plan for the Isle of Man Government, sustainability champions from each department have been meeting to take this forward across government. Meetings are about to be restarted after the coronavirus hiatus. Most departments have provided audits of their issues and then removed the obvious unnecessary items by making changes to the way that things are done, exchanging ideas via the champions meetings, but a couple of large departments are still auditing due to the massive size of the task needed to further resource and the further resource needed to undertake this where large numbers of buildings are concerned. My department, in this context led by Mr Perkins as the delegated member, is proactively looking to engage them further in the coming months and try to support them where possible. The champions are mostly doing this work on top of their usual workload, and the progress that they have made is to be congratulated. With regard to events, Tynwald Fair has taken things forward to a large degree with a prohibition on the use of single-use plastics by stall holders, and other festivals have brought in restrictions on lists of items such as the Food and Drink Festival, the TT Grandstand, and similar events, including the Royal Show and the Southern Show, sadly not happening this year. The Villa Gaiety has replaced single-use plastic cups with reusable cups. The General Registry now only allows biodegradable confetti, and balloon releases have been prohibited as a matter of policy across government property. With regard to plastic bottle use, the Refill Isle of Man scheme includes public buildings such as the airport, the Tynwald buildings. Within government buildings, access to fresh, healthy Manx tap water is ensured within refurbishment schemes as they come forward, with the Department of Infrastructure and Ramsey School having made a stand and replaced bottle machines with reusable bottles and water fountains, which provide a good example in the support plan. Options for encouraging sustainable government procurement decisions have been identified within the current policy, which already broadly provides for this by overt reference to the plans and drawing attention to these in training. These will be taken up with Treasury towards the next set of revisions. With regard to the standardisation of recycling schemes across government buildings, these remain variable, subject to what local volunteers can provide and the varying policies of local authorities, but this is a matter under discussion. Sewage treatment plants are very successful at removing plastics from drains that eventually empty into the sea, and though people really shouldn't be flushing any plastics, the opening of the Ramsey plant resulted in a massive reduction of beach litter a couple of years ago. It is hoped that a similar beneficial effect can be produced at Peel and Laxey-Beltane, for which planning consent is being sought in order for the MUA to complete the regional sewage strategy. In conclusion, there remains work to be done on this, but we are definitely moving in the right direction, and having had to set this aside in recent months, we are looking to re-engage and do as much as we can to remove the unnecessary use of single-use plastics from across government with a renewed campaign to fill the gaps that are obvious.
Mrs. Caine.
Thank you, Mr. President. I thank the Minister for that comprehensive answer. Just two small queries, if I may. Firstly, is the Minister happy that the government canteen here in Government Office has removed single-use plastic and replaced with recyclable material? However, they all go in the bin after use, and I believe they're more expensive than the plastic disposable ones. And the second point relating to the procurement, has a new procurement criteria been introduced? How many procurements has plastics reduction even been a consideration? So when he says he's in discussion, or there's options for encouraging that in procurement, will the discussions with Treasury ensure that the procurement criteria will ensure that plastics reduction will be a consideration?
Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr. President. Unfortunately, I'm not really that happy about the way in which we use recyclable or green material, and the canteen is a good example of that. And that there is no methodology for recycling that material in a lot of cases. Obviously, more sustainable material is good and maybe a greener alternative, but we need to develop a cross-government waste disposal strategy, and that includes local authorities, to ensure that there is a better recycling methodology available. So I'm not that happy, but at least people are making a move in the right direction, so that's part of the problem. In terms of procurement, we will be talking to Treasury. It also forms part of the climate change bill and actions that will be required as a result of that. And going forward, I do hope that Treasury will be persuaded that procurement policy should include provision to look at recyclable and green material when we look at contracts.